Legend rank is a goal for most Hearthstone players. It is a rank that shows you are one of the top players in the game, but sometimes this rank is elusive for some players. In this video, I'll be breaking down the fundamentals of Hearthstone gameplay that can be applied to most deck archetypes in any meta. First of all, your Mulligan. Mulligan guides are useful for this, but generally you will want your highest impact cards, which is usually your most on-curve cards. You will notice that I sent back Lanessa, even though that this deck, it's generally its win con. I am playing against Demon Hunter, which means that Lanessa won't actually be that impactful, and it would be better curving out against the opponent. I keep the rest of the cards because they are strong against an aggro deck. This leads us into playing cards on curve. Playing on curve means that you are using all of your available mana in the most efficient way. You aren't overextending, but you're providing tempo on board. If you watch both of my gameplay and my opponent's gameplay for the rest of this video, I will only miss one turn of using all of my mana, while my opponent only has a limited amount of turns also. So they miss their curve this turn, but it's not that impactful because they're just wanting to deal a damage. In this following turn, I'm just looking at how I'm going to make sure that I'm best using my curve to draw and to use my mana most efficiently. I end up using Robocaller obviously to draw cards, but also make sure that I'm efficiently getting the cards that I need. The opponent in this play also uses their mana completely, so they've played down their entire board, and then since their game plan is aggro, they're making sure that they are hitting my face. Since I'm playing against an aggro deck, I'm the one that needs to trade and make sure that I'm doing trading efficiently. As you can see, I use the Miracle Salesman to trade into the 3-2 rather than my 3-2, because it means that I deal more damage, but it also is the way that I can trade into that minion. I didn't use my metal detector on that turn as well because I had the Living Horizon, but I also wanted to make sure that I was dealing best with the opponent's board as best as possible. The next of the important aspects is knowing your win con. So against an aggro deck, this is something that I need to be thinking of. How am I going to get the last bit of damage? But also, how am I going to survive to make sure that I'm getting through with this? You'll notice that I end up picking the restore 12 health to your hero rather than the deal 6 damage. So my win con is dealing 6 damage to the opponent, but I do the 12 damage because I do have enough in my hand to be able to deal with the opponent's board. And I also, in that play, in trading efficiently, I traded by 2-1. This is to make sure that I get my next Holy spell, which will either be Holy Glow Sticks or Divine Brew, and to make sure that I am, once again, acting towards my win con of this deck. Sometimes your win con can be the most obvious play, and it could just, in that situation, could have been grabbing the 6 mana spell, but 6 damage spell, but I ended up grabbing the health because I had enough cards in my hand to be able to deal that lethal damage to the opponent. And as you can see with what the opponent's drawn into, they don't really have any way of dealing with my board that's here. The thought that I didn't include with that, and a slight misplay, was with that with that priest tourist card that they have, the legendary. That would have been able to heal the 12 health, then deal 6 more damage to me. It's something that I didn't consider when I used that though. And as you can see, since I had the Oracle, I had Divine Brew and all that, they ended up just conceding because that was the end of the game. Noticing on the right hand side, I've missed no on-curve turns. So going into the second game, I am playing as Rogue, usually Cycle Rogue. I need to make sure that I'm playing on curve as best as possible. I do end up keeping the Robocaller because in this situation, my win con is going to be using Lanessa to burst them down, and I need to be able to access as many cards as possible. So I've kept Living Horizon, I've also kept the Robocaller. This meant that I did miss a turn that was on curve, and it's gone over to my opponent. So I've now missed 1 mana on curve. Usually Rogue will skip the first turn as well, and they'll start doing things the following turn with their hero power or a quick pick or any of those sorts of things. They could use Dig for Treasure as well. In to the matchup now. So they've now played down their quick pick. They're making sure that they're completely on curve and they're completely using their mana most efficiently. I'm assuming in this situation also that they're determining whether to trade into my 2-1 or to just attack my face or just to not attack at all. In my situation, usually I would end up just attacking because it's important with Cycle Rogue that you're drawing cards. And depending once again on your hand, if you're going to trade into that Divine Shield or not. They, as you can see, traded into my Divine Shield. They want to make sure that minion's off the board so then they aren't taking damage turn after turn. I ended up using the Robocaller in this turn because it allows me to draw the most cards, and it also will get me towards my win condition with those 2 4-drops that I ended up getting with the Grifter and the Holy Glow Sticks. So once again, I made sure that I didn't float any mana because I wanted to make sure that I was doing the best I could. Because I could have just done a hero power in that situation, but I already have Lanessa in my hand, and getting 4-cost spells, 4-cost cards is very important for this deck because you can get Grifter or you can get the Glow Sticks through it as well. So they've now used their Oracle. With their Oracle, they are going to draw some cards. They'll probably use Shadow Step. It's quite often that they won't miss any mana on curve for probably the rest of the game, to be honest, because with the mana cheating that's involved with Rogue and also the amount of low cost spells, it's quite easy to make sure that you're playing on curve the entire game. So what their game plan obviously is that they're making sure that they are dealing as much damage as they can to me, but also making sure that they are keeping control of the board, and they're making sure that they are getting towards that giant's turn they usually have. I played down the Living Horizon, then I played down Miracle Salesman. This is the best way to make sure that I'm using my mana most efficiently. Living Horizon is a 10 mana minion. It reduces down for each card in your hand. I wanted to make sure that I got the Horizon down just in the off chance they didn't have the Dubious Purchase. And playing down the Miracle Salesman there as well also meant they needed to have some sort of way to deal with my Miracle Salesman. Otherwise, the Dubious Purchase could potentially hit that rather than my Living Horizon. So they end up going into their turn. They end up using their gear. This allows them to draw a bunch of cards. And generally, in this situation, they do end up getting quite high in terms of their board. What you're building towards and thinking about in these turns for me is I'm trying to think of how I'm going to get to my win con. So my win con is turn 7 at the moment because I do have the O Manager, I have the Holy Glow Sticks, I have Divine Brew, I have Grifter. Those sorts of things will help me with the turn 7 play because O Manager will end up cycling twice using Lanessa. And right now I'm just deciding and knowing my win con. So my win con in this situation is getting the damage 6 or reducing down my spells. Drawing cards could be useful in this situation, but I know that it's not going to be the most essential because I do need to make sure that I'm keeping everything ready as possible. Now, I end up trading the Snake Oil. Usually I wouldn't, but I need to be making sure I'm drawing through as many cards as I can. And I also chose the damage spell because I knew that they had 10 cards in their hand, which meant that they wouldn't be able to know which card I ended up getting off Grifter. This obviously is important for when you're playing against other decks because the less knowledge you give to your opponent, the better. Because obviously if they end up getting more knowledge of what's in your hand or what's in your deck, they can play around with what's going on for it. They obviously this turn are getting their giants. My Mixologist is going to be my following play because I don't have anything right now to be able to deal with the giants that are coming out. So the most important part for my Mixologist is to be looking for a freeze and looking for a deal 3 damage so I can get rid of the Oracle as well. So this turn I end up playing down thinking about how I'm going to trade effectively. So this is the way to trade effectively in this situation with the board that they have. So I need to be getting and thinking about how I'm going to best deal with the pressure that's here because I don't want to lose my win con by having to get rid of all my spells and things like that for the Lanessa. So I play down the Mixologist first to determine if I need to. I end up getting a freeze at random enemy minion, which is fantastic for this situation, and I also get the deal 3 damage so I can get rid of the Oracle too. So I deal the 3 damage I play down the Horizon, I then deal the 3 damage, so it means that I've used my mana most efficiently. Living Horizon didn't reduce down because I hadn't used that yet, and it also meant that I played all my mana on curve. So going into their turn, they more than likely won't have a way to deal the last 6 damage to me. So that means that I'm able to go into my turn 7 play, which in general, or generally, will have enough damage and enough burst to be able to take care of the opponent's board, and take care of the opponent's health. And that's usually the turn that you are going for the Lanessa play. The other thing to think about for your Lanessa in your win con is to be also thinking about when to use your spells, your minions that increase the spells for the opponent for the following turns, especially against Rogue and those sorts of decks, because they end up having a weaker combo turn as a result of it. It's similar for Lanessa as well. If they end up playing their Stomper this turn, I would have been in a lot of trouble because with my hand that I have here, it wouldn't be able to survive 2 turns of Giants because of all the damage they're posing on the board, but also all of the I'd need to be able to deal with the opponent this turn, otherwise they'll end up having too much for me. So they end up trading into my Living Horizon, then they deal the 16 damage to my face. Since they don't have the Stomper, I have every card that I need to, so I play down my Lanessa, I do my own manager, I then use both my coins, so I play my coin, I play my second coin, so that gives me up to 4 mana now because it applies twice. I use my other spells, and then I take out the opponent using the bursts that I have there. So as you can see, I thought of my win con, I played my win con, and I made sure that I use my cards most efficiently as I could. I hope that you've enjoyed this video of breaking down the fundamentals of Hearthstone. Please like and subscribe for more if you're enjoying this content. Bye for now.